morning, Sabahul Hiri, buongiorno, bon dia. Gràcies per la vostra presència, alcaldes i alcaldesses, en aquesta sessió que organitzem en ocasió
organized for the 25th anniversary of the Congress of Barcelona, the 25 cities of the Euro-Mediterranean area. It is a pleasure to have with us the mayors of the main cities around the Mediterranean, and I want to especially thank the collaboration of the Town Council of Barcelona with this initiative, the mayor also of Barcelona, Ada Colau, and the different institutions that are part of this event, such as CIDOB, IEMed, the Mediterranean Network of Cities, and ISPI. It is a pleasure to have the mayors of Amman, Izmir, Tunis, and Florence among us. We need to excuse the lack of the presence of the Marseille mayor because of a last-minute problem who couldn't then join us. We are now celebrating the 25 years since the process of Barcelona to promote the relationship between the countries around the Mediterranean. This was meant to be a partnership, not a cooperation program, but rather a dialogue and common help and solutions and prioritization of those solutions among everybody in order to reach the best solutions for the different shores of the Mediterranean. What is worrying us now is how to renew this partnership precisely with the aim of it becoming more inclusive and based on the participation and cooperation of those actors that go beyond the cities. The cities precisely have the possibility of becoming and assuming this role for cooperating, also using a multi-level network and including also the civil society. So if we want to renew what the cooperation around the Mediterranean means, we need to count on cities as dialogue platform city, but not just what comes out of those Euro-Mediterranean relationships. So within this context, the program for global cities organized by the Barcelona Center for International Affairs, and with its support, we want to collaborate and continue to do so, and to renew this vocation, this aspect of the Mediterranean. A lot of resources will be available on the website that has been specially dedicated to this 25th anniversary of the process of the Barcelona process. Also, I'm therefore asking all of those people present to go and see and browse around the website and to see what we have available to renew the relationships around the Mediterranean. It is a pleasure to have organized this session with the Italian Institute for International Political Studies, especially with the presence of Paolo Magri, the Executive Vice President of the Italian Institute for International Political Studies.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Distinguished guest, I'm extremely pleased to open this conference with my colleague and friend, Paul Morillas, and I'm glad to say hello to the mayor of Barcelona, Ada, buongiorno, bentrovata. We met at the Expo in 2015 when you have just been elected mayor, and we had the chance I had the chance to test your wonderful Italian at that time. Why CIDOB and ISPI together? Why CIDOB and ISPI together? Today, in the framework of the Rome Med conference, this session will be broadcasted also to the audience at the Rome Med conference, the 6th edition of the conference on the Mediterranean promoted by ISPI and the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Rome Med dialogues are based on 4 main pillars: prosperity, migration, security, and civil society and culture. None of them can leave aside the issue of cities and how to make them inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. This is even more true after the spread of coronavirus. Global cities do matter since we need to shape a new urban life after COVID, imagine new ways of working and living, heal sick people and prevent the spread of the virus, manage public spaces, fight climate change and social inequalities, integrate foreign communities. Mayors are often seen as pragmatic politicians, and pragmatism together with vision is what we need to foster a more sustainable region beyond and on top of conflicts and pandemics which are around us. I'll now give the floor back to Paul Morillas, who will moderate the discussion. Paul.
Thank you very much, Paolo. Grazie mille. It's a pleasure to jointly co-organize this initiative. Let me give the floor immediately to our mayor, Alcaldessa Colau. Tens la paraula.
Gràcies. Good morning. Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Per mi també és un gran
To me, it is also a great pleasure to be able to share this session, this gathering with all of you, mayors of very important cities around the Mediterranean area. I'd like to really welcome you physically as the host. It's not possible this year, but I do hope that this is going to be feasible soon and that we'll be able to hug ourselves as we like doing in the Mediterranean. We always say that Barcelona is a deeply Mediterranean city, among other things, because we are very proud to have an identity based on diversity, a diversity that is the sum up of the summary of the addition of lots of different aspects that make us very resilient. So it's not a wonder that 25 years ago, it was in this city precisely where we decided to create an effort of cooperation towards peace and stability around the Mediterranean. That was the beginning of what's been called the Barcelona Process. If we look back and we look at our present time, we could be pessimistic. After 25 years, the region has undergone very important conflicts and still undergoes serious conflicts as the thousands of people losing their livelihood from trying to go from one shore of the Mediterranean to the other. So if one decides to become a mayor, it's because at core he or she is optimistic, and because we don't want to say no to a future and to prosperity for our children. So Barcelona wants to play a role in the future for the Mediterranean because we feel very strongly linked to this Mediterranean reality. And also we think this is full of opportunities. We are sharing these feelings that bring us closer. And also we have to say that we're there to provide support, especially with the recent explosion in Beirut. Also, very briefly, and to start this session, I'd like to underline 5 pillars that will be the basis of the future of the region. First one is the Mediterranean has to be welcoming, and this is what I'm saying. Human mobility and its management is now part of the Mediterranean agenda, and the decisions to deal with this will be the basis for the future of the region. From Europe or within Europe, unfortunately, up till now, this reality has only been approached from the safety and security policies and the borders. So this has provoked insecurity and a breach of human rights, and also a failure, because we can't say that good management or governance is being taking care of mobility. Barcelona, as we've said many times, we believe we need to fulfill the international conventions to manage mobility and migration of people in a much safer way, for example, by providing safe harbors around the Mediterranean, like we've done. And I believe the different Mediterranean regions need to work to build bridges, connecting bridges, so that the Mediterranean space is a safe area and people can save their own lives. A second pillar I'm proposing is to have a Mediterranean area committed to our planet. Right now, we're only dealing with the COVID pandemic, but there are times after post-COVID, and that's the climate change emergency, and the experts are saying that the Mediterranean is going to be by 20% deeply affected by these climate circumstances. Therefore, it is obvious that we need to work in a much more active and coordinated manner to deal with this climate emergency, which in turn will provoke massive or en masse human displacement and migration movements. I believe that we can bring specific and practical solutions, also innovative ones, to deal with climate change. For example, we have the European Pact of Mayors to deal with climate and energies, to hold a debate between the northern and southern shore, and by providing local solutions, or we can do it through the Barcelona Convention to be working with the coast that's providing solutions and in coordination with the United Nations in order to protect our environment. We need to carry on and follow this line, because I want to insist the cities is the biggest responsible entity for the emission of damaging gases. Another pillar it would be equality that we want to share. The Mediterranean is one of the north-south borders that suffers from the most inequalities, so we need to address this. And these inequalities are the source to many problems that are part of our region. Therefore, we need to revert these inequalities that need to do with poverty, but also with the women's inequalities. And so we need to work on female or women-sided policies. A fourth pillar to propose and suggest is to have a Mediterranean area full of opportunities, especially arising from the crisis situation caused, of course, by COVID-19, but that, of course, has hit the economic model of Mediterranean cities, also affecting services in which tourism is of huge importance. So we need to share and make this crisis become an opportunity. We wouldn't want it just to sound like a typical topic, but this should help us to promote this help to not just have a more sustainable and safer tourism, because the en masse tourism, of course, was a non-sustainable model, but also to diversity our different cities' economies, so that those economies become greener. Also, my last pillar is to have communicated online and network Mediterranean. The agreements under the auspices of the United Nations relate to the Mediterranean. If we want to fulfill and comply with them, this has to occur at the cities. Otherwise, we won't have a 2030 agenda made possible. Barcelona has different networks like Metropolis or INCT that for decades have been working to reach those goals, and we are proud as a city to be the support to these networks and to aim at fulfilling these aims. Therefore, the cities have the capacity in a very relevant manner to approach those goals. And so if we have the capacity, this means we also have the responsibility to not only manage very complex situations in the cities, but we need to be a role model for cooperation. Barcelona, for all this time, has played and is playing a very important role to provide an answer to those challenges. And by doing so, we want to continue being a Mediterranean capital cities and always being the role model for the actors and the civil society of the region. So for this region to become more prosperous, also more women-related and more municipality-based, we are offering here with our cooperation. Thank you so much, Mayor, not just for your introductory remarks, but also for your offer of support that you've just explained to us, to not only us, the organizers, but also to the next ones to speak, to take the floor, and who will be explaining their perspective on different areas of the Mediterranean.
Panelists, I will move first to Youssef Shawarbe, who is the mayor of Amman. And we all know that Amman has been one of the highest migrant populations in the Mediterranean, as Mayor Colau was expressing before. Multiple cases of scales of government, from the municipal level to the regional and the national level, contribute to the city's migration governance, but also other actors, including civil society actors and international aid organizations. Dear Mayor, I would like to ask you, how is cooperation and coordination ensured on migration issues with such a complex structure, and what good lessons learned can we take from the experience of Amman? Mayor, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon to you all. Thank you, Paul. Thanks are also due to Honorable Ada Colau, Mayor of Barcelona. I would like to also to extend my sincere regards to each one of you. Our online meeting today is a real translation of the very genuine and effective partnership between the two shores of the Mediterranean. Yes, Amman is the capital of the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan. It is also the economic and political epicenter of Jordan. Jordan has certainly gained an extensive and comprehensive experience over 70 years in dealing with migration and refugee issues. Migration waves have started to take place since 1948. Amman accounts for more than 42% of the total population in Jordan. The total population in Jordan is currently stands at 10 million inhabitants, and the population of Amman amounts to 4.5 million inhabitants. Jordan has experienced a population increase by 87% over the past 10 years. So the population boom has become an additional challenge, and is primarily caused by the increase in the migration waves to Jordan from neighboring countries due to many crises in the region. Amman has attracted so many refugees thanks to its strategic position, the peaceful and hospitable environment it is offering them. However, the public services of healthcare, education, transport, and so on, provided by the central government and local governments, are challenged by emerging pressures due to such population boom. Still, we are doing our best to serve the refugees and migrants, because we totally understand the pushing factors that drove them to our country. The pushing factors are mainly wars in our region, unlike migratory flows from and into other regions driven by economy, basically. So we always develop plans for exceptional circumstances. Yes. The government of Jordan devised a response plan to address the migration challenge and support the refugees. This is called the Jordanian response plan. It is targeting primarily the Syrian refugees. You know, the number of Syrian refugees amounts to 1.3 million refugees, in addition to the 2 million Palestinian refugees who have found their ways into Jordan since 1967. In total, we have welcomed more than 3 million refugees from Arab countries. So the 3-year response plan is designed to alleviate the pressure on infrastructure and the state budget, and also to improve the livelihood of refugee, especially we have lost Mr. Shawarbi, I'm sorry, and provide services such as electricity and shelter. The response plan is grounded basically on the partnership between the Jordanian government and the local and international NGOs or international governmental or intergovernmental institutions. It offers an integrated package of support and services to all refugees. The plan that has been prepared and its budget is always allocated to the government, which in turn distributes allocations to municipalities. Budgeting has to be managed under one umbrella, the umbrella of the Ministry of Planning. However, the municipality of Amman has developed its own refugee support plans and programs based on its municipal revenues and other resources coming from its networks and partners. These included training, integration, healthcare and job creation programs. We do firmly believe and or perceive that the presence of refugees as an opportunity available to us and not as a burden imposed on us. It is an opportunity of development. We always call upon the international institutions and the international community to devise very clear and comprehensive support programs for refugees, programs that should target the host populations and host cities too. This is what we are attempting to achieve. Thank you. The floor is back to you, Paul.
Certainly the case for your city. And some people, of course, see that as an asset, as we should all see it. But could you underline for us what are precisely the benefits and strengths of these highly diverse cities, and how can local authorities contribute to harness the positive aspects of diversity? Mayor Sawyer, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. First of all, I would like to salute Adak Kallau, our organizer and host of this event. And I would like to thank all the Mediterranean mayors for their participation. In Izmir, we know the importance of diversity in nature. That's one of the main forces making the ecological systems function. When it comes to our societies, diversity plays a very similar role. It creates richness, enables us to progress, and ensures the well-functioning of social and financial ecosystems. That's why in Izmir, we promote and nurture biological and social diversity. Fortunately, diversity historically exists in the Mediterranean. As the history of Izmir shows us, multi-ethnic, religiously diverse, and multilingual period of the city have offered more opportunity and prosperity to its people. Different cultures accomplished to live together in harmony and prosper by exchanging and inspiring each other. This is an experience which can help the world to overcome today's polarization, segregation, and marginalization. Municipalities need to perceive diversity as a source of prosperity when they form their policies. If they do so, and if they design their services to promote diversity, they can put forward a governance that includes the needs and talents of each and every person in their city. With this vision, Izmir wanted to contribute to the city-level international collaborations on making cities more inclusive. To this end, Izmir chaired the U20 task force entitled Inclusive and Prosperous Communities. We prepared 5 papers examining best practices and proposed future urban policies to the leaders of G20 countries. We gave them the message that in order to increase the well-being and prosperity, we must focus on amplifying the voices of every person in the city. Today's complex crisis can only be resolved through inclusive collective wisdom and action. Today, migration and urbanization are defining features of local realities in Mediterranean countries once again. Cities are places where people come together to live, work, and find opportunities. Increasing urbanization and migratory flows have made our cities hubs of diversity and innovation. We need to aim to address the gap between potential opportunities and challenges. We need to work on concretely on these issues. That's why, in collaboration with Montreal Municipality, we will host the International Mayors Summit on Living Together. By working together, we want to create solutions for complex challenges rising from social inclusion. Migration will be on the top of the priority lists that will work in Izmir Summit. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, dear Mayor, for your words. You underline a very important aspect, which is diversity in cities and trying to make the best out of this diversity. I will now immediately move to the mayor of Tunis, Suat Abderrahim, to ask about something that is also very present in the mind of many municipal governments in both shores of the Mediterranean, and that is the mechanisms that are being promoted, that have been promoted to enhance citizen participation. I would like to ask the mayor to give us some concrete examples on how citizen engagement has resulted in the improvement of conditions of governance at the local level, and more particularly also in the field of socio-economic development and improvement. So, Mayor Abderrahim, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Paul. First of all, I would like to extend my thanks to my colleague, Ada Colau, the mayor of the city of Barcelona, for the very kind invitation to take part in this dialogue, a dialogue held under the auspices of the Union for the Mediterranean. Our partnership and cooperation is a very best translation of the bridges of communication we have established over decades, and I hope that the cooperation be extended to accommodate many more municipalities. I would like also to welcome my other colleagues, the mayors of the cities of Amman, Florence and Izmir, and all other colleagues and friends who are present today. In this online meeting, we are holding this meeting despite the challenges posed by COVID-19. Municipalities have strong will to meet for the empowerment of our cities. Certainly, partnerships and cooperation relations between all have very good socio-economic impacts. That's why there is need to create spaces in which citizens and local authorities interact together in a participatory approach to lay the foundation for a more inclusive, supportive and sustainable cities. The city is by definition a space for exchange, a space for listening, as it is the closest entity to citizens, visitors, residents and civil society. Civil society is indeed a key partner in creating that favorable environment. That's why it is necessary to opt for a participatory form of governance, means to devise citizen-centered local policies and have a break with the top-down approach that has been the usual practice. The organic law on local communities in Tunisia came to translate the provisions of the 2014 constitution, which insists on the participatory governance, a constitution that I had the privilege and honor to contribute to its drafting. So the constitution stipulates the need to engage citizens in the municipal planning and in the implementation of municipal investments. So a new collaborative relationship between local councils and citizens, and this relationship is envisaged in the constitution. So this requires the advancement of local governance and the establishment of a genuine cooperation relationship between local councils and citizens. So we are required by law to hold regular meetings with citizens, to develop a database of CSOs that we need to cooperate with, to put in place suggestion boxes for citizens. So we are required to take this communication with citizens to a second level. The communication is continuous and has been maintained at a very good level despite the pandemic. So it is also relevant to note here that such participatory approach and citizen engagement and NGO engagement was the driving force that has successfully led to the adoption of the so-called horizontal and vertical gender parity in the Electoral Act and the empowerment of women and young people who were capable to have a good and proper representation in the local councils, with women accounting for 48% of their members and young people accounting for 33%. This achievement is the result of ongoing tremendous pressures exerted by civil society. The message has been very well received, and as soon as I took office at the municipality, we rushed to build cooperation relationships with civil society and international organizations. So I also would like to highlight another great experience of partnership with civil society. It is a collaborative effort to confront the coronavirus pandemic. All of the civil society organizations have mobilized their efforts and resources to launch successful awareness-raising campaigns, help the poor and the needy, respond to the urgent needs of the citizens, migrants and visitors and people in distress without any discrimination. We also have placed an emphasis on the poor neighborhoods and slums, and we have developed a whole plan for green spaces in many neighborhoods. These spaces are deemed crucial, especially during the mobility restrictions imposed by the pandemic. Citizens and residents have felt the importance of those spaces as breathing spaces during the lockdown. So they were much needed. And we worked hard to offer citizens with those services. Other campaigns have been launched with the civil society, along with the civil society at schools. We have established a helpline for citizens, which is primarily connected with the emergency unit at the Ministry of Public Health. Thousands of calls have been received and large number of citizens have been helped and saved. Here I would like to emphasize the fact that civil society has been available and working around the clock 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. we do firmly believe in the need for those partnerships, the participatory approach. We say yes for cooperation and yes for citizen engagement for safer and more inclusive cities helping each other. Thank you. You have the floor, Paul, again.
Sorry, Shukran, thank you very much. Apologies for those who are experiencing trouble with the sound every now and then. This is a major challenge with so many languages and online. So apologies if the sound isn't clear, but thank you very much, Mayor, for your views. I will now immediately move to the Mayor of Florence, Buongiorno, Daria Nardella, to ask about the role of your city also in chairing and leading EuroCities today, the leading network of European cities. And of course, one of the objectives is how to make cooperation and relations between the different areas of the Mediterranean, different cities of the Mediterranean reality through EuroCities, through the network of EuroCities. Could you give us some concrete examples on the initiatives that you are taking forward to have EuroCities more engaged into anything related to Euro-Mediterranean relations? Thank you very much, Mayor. The floor is yours.
So good morning to everybody, buongiorno. First of all, I would like to thank my friend, colleague, in this important meeting, and a special greeting to the colleague Suad Abderrahim, Mayor of Tunis, with whom we have a long and deep friendship. So as a community of more than 119 cities all over Europe, I think that EuroCities can give a positive contribution to Euro-Mediterranean relations, also thanks to its wide network of local governmental city committed to deal with issues of common interest in this regional area. I think EuroCities counts numerous important city members and associate partners in the Eastern and the Balkan area, and also Turkey, that are actively engaged in many thematic groups, and actually an increasing interest has been shown from several Turkish cities that would like to join the network. I can affirm that EuroCities already relies on very positive relations with other city networks like, for example, USLG, or IEMed and the Metropolis, with a long history, wide experience, and a broad organization structure. The union between cities and local governments can further strengthen their position to make themselves be heard on a regional, national, and international level, and play a key role in the global decision-making processes. And I think that as the city mayors and the leaders of local governments, we can really make the difference and enhance cooperation and respect for people and human rights. Because cities and local governments are more pragmatic, solution-oriented, and, if you want, less ideological, as Benjamin Barber wrote in his book that you remember, I think, If Mayors Ruled the World. So cities are not autonomous territorial units, and with joint efforts, with multi-level governance, important common target can be reached in various thematic issues impacting on human life and environment, like, for instance, global warming reduction or sustainable urban development, promotion of energetic efficiency and use of renewable energy sources and digital transition, etc. The presence in the network of cities like Barcelona, of course, or Italian cities like Palermo, Genova, Venice, or for French, Toulouse, Nice, Bordeaux, Marseille, and many others, can directly bring their specific approach and contribution to tackle issues related to the Mediterranean area and the regularly work we are doing with universities and institutes in the Mediterranean countries on themes related to urban challenges such as climate neutrality, can reinforce the engagement in Euro-Mediterranean relations. What we are facing in the biggest challenge of our century, cities are a political and institutional pillar to build a new Europe, and the Mediterranean cities are the core of this new vision of Europe. I believe that together we can really work to make this a real opportunity for change. As a mayor of Florence, I would like to remember that one of my predecessors, mayors, Giorgio Lapira, organized in the middle of the 19th century several important meetings about Mediterranean relations, calling here in Florence all the mayors of the best cities on in the Mediterranean area, because he believed every time on diplomatic function of cities. And today, this diplomatic vocation, diplomatic function is very important. I must say that as mayors of cities, head of municipal governments and the coordinators of the metropolitan areas, we have in Italy frequently spoken out loud to make clear our position and to present to our central government local instances and the most urgent measures to adopt at local level, following, for example, the global pandemic of COVID-19. The health emergency that has so deeply impacted on our lives greatly involves us both as citizens and as political leaders and public institutions. And we are highly committed to tackle the consequences of an unprecedented crisis by implementing effective policies with a high economic and social impact. And Italian city mayors are so deeply involved because of their proximity to citizens and the communities, and we are close to people as the other mayors, to families, enterprises, working people, and we know well their actual suffering and the needs. As also stated by OECD, subnational governments, regions and municipalities are at the front line of the crisis management and recovery. And finally, in Italy, the central government has increasingly listened to the mayors' voices who requested specific measures for their territories. With the adoption of a decrees, the Decreto Rilancio, many funds have been allocated at local level for local governments' needs. And in the first phase of the crisis at municipal level, we decided together to take prompt action and adopt effective measures to help people by introducing, for example, food solidarity measures such as food vouchers and the food parcels distributed by no-profit organizations, And we tried in this way to give immediate relief to citizens who were experiencing a time of great difficulties in this emergency. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you very much for these words. You also covered something that we wanted to discuss and address, which is precisely the role that cities have played in the delivery of services, of basic services, and the protection of rights, and the health situation that has been generated by COVID-19, which is precisely a global phenomena, proving how cities are at the forefront of delivering, and also receiving most pressure when it comes to satisfying the most urgent needs of the population. And sometimes this contrasts with the capacity that cities and local governments have in shaping the policies and the politics of major issues that are discussed at the national level, but also at the international one. And I would dare to say that this gap precisely that exists between the local and the global level, and it's mostly felt when crises such as coronavirus appear. And of course, we are all aware that it is very necessary to find solutions to that gap, that increasing gap. But we are also aware that the institutional developments and the institutional frameworks in which we operate sometimes make it very difficult. So I think that is the major challenge for all of us gathering today in this conference. We are unfortunately heading towards the end of the session, because I know that a few of you mayors have to leave sharp at 1 p.m. So unless there is 30 seconds reaction that any of you would like to make, I will need to give the floor for our closing remarks to our director of the Global Cities Program at CIDOB. But before doing that, is there what in English say a two-finger contribution that any of you would like to make? But I would really ask you to be very, very short.
What?
Very short, please, from Tunis.
شكرا حبيت.
Thank you. Towards the end of this online meeting, I would like to stress the need to empower the cities, as they are the closest entity and authorities to citizens. I totally endorse the statement of my friend Dario Nardella when he rightly said that municipalities are on the front line of sustainable human development and crisis management efforts, because they are the closest to people and are required to provide good services to them. Municipalities are true believers in genuine partnerships. Therefore, we need to work hard to make the municipalities a key party in the devising public policies for cities and public policies for states. Municipalities need to be given more powers, and here I would like to suggest the creation of a new network involving our municipalities to enhance solidarity and cooperation amongst cities and support local councils and mayors. COVID-19 has made visible the vital role of municipalities in the areas of solidarity business. Municipalities were very active despite the lockdown, and they offered the support. We have been working with the medical authorities and staff at the forefront of providing assistance to citizens, visitors, as well as refugees and migrants in our cities, respective cities. I would like to seize this opportunity to salute all the work accomplished by all the mayors. They proved themselves as heroes, fighting the spread of the virus through comprehensive disinfection campaigns, awareness raising campaigns targeting the elderly, the young people, the children, and the support given to the vulnerable populations and communities, and the establishment of online communication channels with all. I salute you again, my dear colleagues, colleagues, and I commend your humanitarian work during COVID-19. I wish you all success in your endeavors.
Which was to thank all mayors participating in this session, in this roundtable on the 25 years after the Barcelona Process, cities in the Euro-Mediterranean Partnership. I'm afraid I will have to close here. The different and very interesting contributions provided from many corners of the Mediterranean. It's been a challenge, a technical challenge to organize this. I thank you for your patience when the sound has not been excellent, but I am sure that and I can ensure that your voice has been heard and your messages have been conveyed. So thank you very much to all mayors participating, and particularly to Ada Colau. Muchísimas gracias. I will now give the floor to Agustí Fernández de Losada, the director of the Global Cities Program, for closing this session. Agustí, the floor is yours.
Moltes gràcies, Pol. Bueno, jo em sumo als agraïments a les alcaldesses i als alcaldes participants
the presence of the mayors being part of this meeting online.
Com deia el Pol, ha estat
As Paul said,
no només des de la perspectiva tècnica, per tant, molt agraït.
It has been quite a challenge technically,
El compromís de les ciutats amb la Mediterrània,
and the commitment of cities
les ciutats
within the Mediterranean. We can see have a very important role to play, especially with climate change. I think that with today's debate, we can say that many regions around the Mediterranean are sharing this challenge. So we can say it is very urgent to deal with inequalities, migration around the Mediterranean, also to have devices to protect rights, human rights, around sustainability. I think it is also vital to empower the involvement of citizenship and to have citizenship in an organized manner around municipalities. Cities are a welcoming space, an opportunity space, but also a space full of contradictions, of getting rid of people, removing people. And we always need to base our efforts around cooperation. All of this is, of course, being reinforced through cooperation. Municipalities and regions need to be reinforced, need the support. And now, 25 years later, after the Barcelona Process startup, we need to review what state we are at. You can please visit our website in order to reflect around this, or to reflect on this Euro-Mediterranean Association.
Come from the think tanks in Euro-Mediterranean relations. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much.